This is Positively Montana.
Hello everyone, I'm Janelle Slade and welcome to MTN's Positively Montana, your weekly look at the brighter side of the Treasure State. Over the next half hour, we'll take you to the Mission Valley to meet one of those special teachers each one of us had in high school, the kind that has an impact that lasts long after graduation. And speaking of high school, we head to Townsend where Broadwater High students are taking their skills out of the classroom and onto a construction site. We'll also make a stop in Ulm, just south of Great Falls, and visit the mining city. But on this Memorial Day weekend, we begin with one of our veterans. The number of them left from World War II falls by the day. MTN's Russ Riesinger has this story about a special birthday celebration for one Montana veteran who was on the ground in the hours following one of the most important battles of the war.
We're here for Bud's birthday. He turns 98 on the 25th.
Ronnie, how old did you say he was?
98.
At the age of 98, Bud LeCount may have lost a step, but hasn't lost his sense of humor.
Well, it feels 1 year better than 97. I got a lot of family here. The whole place is full of them, yeah. The whole tribe is here.
Bud has seen a lot in his 98 years. I last talked to him 2 years ago as he was getting ready to head to ceremonies in France for the 75th anniversary of D-Day. Well, there, he took a bad fall.
And I broke my hip. Had to have my hip replaced over there. They put in an artificial hip. Then I came home eventually, fell again, and broke my neck.
Despite having undergone a total hip replacement just a day before, Bud soldiered on and was right behind then-President Trump for the ceremonies.
Absolutely, he was going to make those ceremonies. Both of us agreed. That's why we came. He is going to make those ceremonies.
His determination to survive was evident long before he ever set foot on Omaha Beach in World War II. A Chippewa Indian, Bud was taken away from his family at the age of 6 and sent to the Fort Totten Indian School. He wouldn't see them for another 9 years. Now, a long lifetime later, he's seen his own family grow and prosper.
I got grandkids here and great-grandkids, and I have one great-great-grandson here. So I got a whole bunch of relatives here.
I'm so proud of him. You know, he stormed the beaches of Normandy. He's a piece of history. I mean, the fact that he's still walking around 98 years, that's a long time. You know, the Lord has kept him alive for a long time, and I'm very honored to be his great-grandson, yeah.
No, he's been an incredible father. Growing up on the farm, perfect childhood. We all worked and helped and knew that duty of family and responsibility. But yeah, absolutely hard work and determination describes my father.
Happy birthday, dear Bud. Happy birthday to you.
In Billings, I'm Russ Riesinger reporting for MTN News.
Think of some of those classic summer jobs, you know, mowing lawns, lifeguarding, scooping ice cream. Most of them aren't that glamorous and they're definitely not worth bragging about. But that's not the case for one Corvallis student whose summer job has led to a life-changing opportunity.
Great shot, Clay.
When it comes to summer gigs, Luke SCHLIMGEN has it pretty good.
Yeah, so I had the chance to caddy for Justin Timberlake.
Caddying for Stock Farm Club since he was 13 years old, the Corvallis senior has worked his way through the ranks, learning what it takes to keep this prestigious golf course living up to its reputation.
Full-time caddying for 2 years, and then I transitioned into the cart barn, like player staff, so clean the carts, deal with the driving range, and then this year I'm kind of a little bit of supervising downstairs and then working up in the pro shop as well.
Judging from the dream job and the laid-back attitude, you'd never know of some of the trials Luke has faced.
You know, I lost my dad when I was pretty young. I think I was 8 years old, and I just, like, my mom was a single mom for 11 years after that, 10 years, and then it was just kind of always tough because we were also on one income for that amount of time.
Luke says it's his mom who has always been the rock in his family.
She's just been probably my biggest inspiration to keep going.
But now Luke's doing his part to support the family by eliminating any financial strain that could come from college expenses. For his dedication to caddying, academic strength, and outstanding character, Luke is a recipient of the highly competitive Chick Evans Scholarship, a full ride valued at $120,000 over 4 years. You might as well call it a SCHLIMGEN family tradition. Luke's mom played basketball and golf at the University of Montana on a full ride. He knows his dad would have loved to see him following in her footsteps.
I mean, I know he's probably pretty proud of us, and then, yeah, I think it's all just kind of coming around.
What began as a summertime gig to play a little golf and earn some cash is now opening doors for Luke's future to explore the world of golf or anything else he sets his mind to.
Oh, it's opened up so many.
Even with his eye on the future, Luke says it'll take more than a full ride to forget Montana's fairways and the course that started it all.
Yeah, I'm excited for the college experience, and I think it'll be great going and living somewhere else in small town Montana, but I think I'd like to probably come back here when I'm older.
In Hamilton, Megan Mannering, MTN News.
I'm Tim McGonigal at Ulm School, where it's game on for one 8th grader. Her passion for trees and knack for game design has earned her top honors in an international competition. This may look like fun and games, but it's actually the end result of a tech assignment for Ulm 8th grader Addie Jensen.
We're supposed to create a game. It could be digital or a board game, and to get full credit, it'd have to be educational about ecosystems or trees, recycling maybe.
The assignment, which earned Addie runner-up status, also mixed coding skills the kids had learned with practicing the engineering design process. Addie designed a Candyland-like game she calls Tree Dares. It's focused on trees, something she's always had an interest in.
Like how they give off oxygen and different types of trees that have different qualities.
A group of players will take turns rolling the dice. If they land on a tree, they have to answer a question about trees.
Trees don't have feelings, true or false?
False.
If they get that answer wrong, they have to complete a dare specified on the card.
Throw a small plastic ball at someone and say, "Get in your ball, you stupid Pokemon."
Yes.
Students from all over the world took part in the game-based STEM competition put on by Legends of Learning with support from Dell Technologies.
I was kind of surprised to see her name on there, but then also I'm not surprised because she put in a lot of work to making really detailed components and a lot of thought into her theme, and she does really well at everything she sets her mind to.
Addie will be a freshman at CMR next year. For her efforts in the competition, she won a $200 gift card. In Ulm, Tim McGonigal, MTN News.
Here in Townsend, high school students have a construction technology class where they spend the entire school year building big construction sites.
It's pretty awesome that we get the opportunity, though, in high school to work on something like this.
You heard that right. Andrew Hopper and his co-workers here are high school students at Broadwater High. They are on a job site measuring
I need to come my way in 16th.
And cutting board to build this backyard garage, giving Andrew hands-on experience.
It gives us an introduction into siding, the actual building, concrete work, really anything that you do on a job site in the real world.
This job site isn't a one-day event for these students. They are part of a construction technology class at Broadwater High that spends the entire school year building a project from start to finish. Mr. Clint Watson is the teacher of the class. He's constructed over 20 projects with students ranging from garages to stairways at local buildings, teaching them the trade skills in unexpected settings according to the students.
When I found out we were doing everything from the foundation and the concrete work to pouring the concrete walls and doing everything, it's kind of a shock, a little surprising, but it's a good experience.
But more importantly, many of them say Mr. Watson's class inspires them to look at this as a career.
I find this is kind of probably one of my career choices, could possibly be. I've learned so much, and I love doing this type of stuff, so it could definitely be a career for me.
The Montana Chamber of Commerce released a report from 2020 detailing that out of nearly 1,000 respondents, 36% of construction, engineering, and more businesses had to turn down growth opportunities due to a lack of skilled workers.
These high school students hope to have the garage project finished by the end of the school year. In Townsend, ALEXIE, AGUAYO, MTN News.
It started with the donation of an injured bull from a family in Villiers. Now CNC Meat Processing is donating over 250 pounds of hamburger to the Papillon and Wagner families to help keep their searchers fed.
Everybody needs help once in a while. Traditionally, it takes a tribe to take care of our community.
Each family was given just over 125 pounds of ground beef that will go into hot meals out on the search.
We have to stick together. We're a group. And that's how it was back in the old days. You know, we always took care of each other. And that's why I think that's what we need now more of.
They're locals, which is great, you know. It's just people helping out people, you know, our families helping out families.
The donation helps prepare the families to continue the search efforts solely with help of local volunteers.
We are on our own, me and my family and the community. We're all going to get together and we're all going to go out and search for my loved one, our loved one, and go from there, and we're not going to stop until we do.
For the owner of CNC Meat Processing, using her business to donate is the one way she can help give the families one less worry as they search for their loved ones.
This donation is about taking care of each other. From the family that donated it to my family and all the families it's going to feed. This hopefully will bring more people to these searches to help look for these ones that are lost. We all struggle, but to know that you're not struggling alone and somebody's watching to help, that's what we're here for.
In Bab, Cassandra Soto, MTN News.
Positively Montana continues after this. Welcome back to Positively Montana.
The end of the school year will be a little bittersweet for students at St. Ignatius High School because they're saying goodbye to a teacher who's been here for decades, teaching generations of mission kids all about science and a little bit about life.
What kinds of metamorphic? What are the two kinds of...
It's a rainy morning along McDonald Lake, deep in the Mission Mountains, and St. Ignatius High School science teacher John Liggis is teaching his students about rocks for the last time.
But I definitely remember the first time coming here for an interview. I came up over the mountains and I was like, whoa, I think this might be the place.
That job interview was in 1985, and now, more than 35 years later, John Liggis is retiring. And the whole school turned out to say farewell in a show of love he didn't expect. He might have underestimated his impact at this school.
He's so level-headed that it's super easy to just connect with him about anything. I mean, he finds a way to just reach out to every student. So he'll give you the reality check you need, even if you don't want to hear it.
On this day, 2 former students now attending Montana Tech came back with a retirement gift and memories of how this high school science teacher believed in them.
He played a really big part in my life and like kind of pushing me to a higher education and like realizing like, yeah, like my circumstances may not be the best here and there, but you know, someone like Liggis, he's always going to be there to like push you and edge you forward and like kind of make you uncomfortable so you like prepared for the real world and prepared for college.
A lot of things can happen, like some people don't have the best home life, and like just coming to school, he'll make it better and like make it safe.
It's one of those bittersweet things that I'm definitely torn between wanting to do something new and leaving what I've known forever.
The missions must have been calling to him that day back in 1985 when he decided to make St. Ignatius his home, to live, to teach, and to mentor generations of students. He never expected this reaction to his retirement, but it is confirmation he made the right choice all those years ago.
I've always felt that way. I've always felt extremely fortunate for choosing the career that I did, and I just fell into it, and it's just always been completely rewarding and fulfilling to me. I go home every night after work just feeling like I'm doing something positive in the world, and it's just been a great fit for me.
Mr. Liggis tells me after teaching for so long, he will miss the classroom, but is looking forward to enjoying his retirement. In St. Ignatius, Jill Valley, MTN News.
A tragedy in Butte that occurred over 100 years ago and claimed the lives of several firefighters is being remembered here in Butte. A class at Margaret Leary Elementary in Butte unveiled the statue of a dog that's become part of Butte's rich folklore that was born of a tragic explosion that killed more than a dozen firefighters 125 years ago. The unnamed black dog belonged to Butte firefighter William Copeland, who died in the 1895 Kenyon Connell warehouse explosion. The dog survived and stayed by his master's side, even in death. The students of Mrs. Robinson's 5th grade class finally gave the dog a name, which is the Irish word for loyal, Delise.
Well, I was one of the few that cried, so that was a pretty big part, and it was a very sad story. Since dogs are man's best friend, so it was just really sad to see him and like Delise with his owner and sticking through every hardship.
The story goes that the dog stayed with his master after he was killed in the explosion, followed him in his funeral procession, and stayed at his grave at Mount Moriah Cemetery, where the dog soon died.
This dog just showed his loyalty and his faithfulness to the master, and you can't beat that. So we thought that had to be incorporated into the story because it's a real big part of the whole tragic story.
Well, Delise is certainly living up to his name for loyalty. And Mrs. Robinson says she wants this poor dog's story to be a lesson to kids today.
Just to be loyal and to always be there for someone when they need help. Oh God, I don't know why I'm crying. Okay. Yeah, just being the best versions of themselves and stuff.
The statue will be part of the memorial outside Butte's Uptown Fire Station. In Butte, John Amy, MTN News.
A celebration was held in Polson on Tuesday celebrating Special Olympic athletes.
You know, we actually got to celebrate somebody else's success and be together, and that's just what this is all about.
Dozens of Special Olympic athletes from across Lake County were at Polson High School Tuesday morning celebrating their achievements from the state summer games. Close to 60 medals were handed out to participants from the Polson Pirates and Mission Bulldogs Special Olympic teams. Lake County law enforcement helped crown the medalists as teammates cheered alongside one another. Polson Pirates head coach Chris Kelly said this year's celebration was extra special as it was the first time the two teams have been together since the beginning of the pandemic.
It's just nice to be able to get out and cheer. You know, we haven't really been able to, we've been able to cheer for our team, so it's nice to be able to cheer for somebody else. And what it means is that we can start to do this, then life is starting to turn back to normal.
Earlier this month, the Polson Pirates were named the Special Olympics Program of the Year for the state of Montana. In Polson, Sean Wells, MTN News.
More stories from the heart of the Treasure State are on the way when Positively Montana continues after this. Welcome back to Positively Montana.
You can't talk unsung heroes without recognizing the frontline workers who have gotten us through this pandemic. Despite being in a vulnerable population herself, one nurse at Community Medical Center in Missoula powered through the pandemic, showing up to work every day to ensure that her patients got back on their feet.
She's from a family of boys. She's currently got a family of boys. She's got 5 grandchildren that are all boys. And without my mom, you know, I think everything would kind of fall apart.
Kim LAASCH could win Unsung Hero simply for dealing with all of those boys. But it's her dedication to 35 years of nursing that really calls for some recognition.
She typically works in the rehab department at Community Medical Center in Missoula. Because of all the large volume of infected patients the hospital was receiving, they decided to convert her wing into a COVID treatment department, essentially. So she was working with infected patients 24/7.
Most of the world took a time out in the thick of the pandemic, retreating to their homes, staying safe in their bubbles. But in Kim's corner, the battle with COVID-19 raged on.
You know, a lot of hours. A lot of overtime. All the staff would be out, on isolation, and So it was a long year.
Lucky for Kim, she knows a thing or two about sticking it out when times are tough. After all, she's a cancer survivor.
You know, we had our concerns, of course, because of her history with cancer, that perhaps maybe she had a vulnerable immune system, but she, despite our concerns, she kind of rose to the occasion.
You, of course, have to dress up a lot more going into a COVID room. It's very, very loud in there with the negative pressure. Nobody can go in there. Nobody can come, you know, the family can't go in.
She accepted extra shifts, often working overtime to pull her weight on a team of frontline workers. A grueling job, but one that she couldn't imagine stepping away from.
I was exposed a couple times to patients that came in negative and end up being positive once in here.
If it weren't for nurses like Kim LAASCH, Missoula County's COVID story might have a very different ending. Whether she believes it or not, her sons, her family, and the patients she cares for know that she's an unsung hero.
There's just so many more people that are so deserving of it, that have worked really hard through this. Our hospitalists and the doctors, the respiratory, housekeeping, you know, the CNAs. It's like a big group, not just me.
In Missoula, Megan Mannering, MTN News.
That wraps up this week's Positively Montana. We hope you've enjoyed this look at the good things happening in our state every day. You can find more Positively Montana stories on your local MTN website, along with a chance to submit your own story ideas. For now, I'm Janelle Slade. Have a great day.